Good morning. Welcome to Criminal Justice Insider. I'm Babz Rawls Ivy.
And I'm Jeff Grant.
Jeff Grant is on the road.
I'm in the WNHH Storm Team 103.5, driving into the hurricane into Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh my God. Jeff is out there chasing down criminal justice stuff.
It's true. I'll show you. We just hit the rain bands.
Where are y'all headed?
Visit my daughter, my son-in-law, my grandchildren.
Okay, know there's a storm, right?
Oh yeah, we're driving right in.
Okay. Hey, Lynn.
No, she can't hear you. I have my headphones on.
Well, tell her I said hello. She's focused. All right. Let her be focused.
Oh yeah, there she is.
She is focused. Y'all are so cute. All right, so we were supposed to have Josh Elliott on this morning, and who knows what happened. I don't know. Are they in special session? Have they started special session yet?
I don't think so. I don't think special session starts till I don't know the answer to that. I don't think they're having a special session. I don't know what's going on.
Oh no, they always have a special session. So
yeah,
this is always.
Well, so Babz, why don't we just start with updates, and we can let's start talking about your induction to the Connecticut Hall of Change.
That's going good. Because we can't gather physically, we did the show, taped it. We taped some of like they shot video of us well before COVID happened, just getting our story a little bit. And then when COVID happened, they changed the format, and then they gathered us in Hartford, which I wasn't available. I wasn't able to get to Hartford. So I did my, I just shot my taping from the inner city office and then sent it to them to add to the body of taping that they did with all the other awardees, the other 7. So I believe it's 8 of us.
Yeah, I know. So you sent it to Lynn and I last night, which is lovely.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't want you to talk about it yet.
Well, I'm not really talking about it other than thank you for the shout out.
See, this is why I was hesitant about sending it to you. I was afraid I was gonna wake up and it's gonna be like all across social media. I was like, you know what? I should not have sent that. Yeah.
Well, that would be my style, but I didn't do it.
I know. I was like, could you just wait till after Sunday?
So why don't you explain to everybody what the Hall of Change is and what the procedure was? I know we're supposed to have Charlie Grady and all the inductees on Friday, October 2nd, but it's been hard to sit on this for all these months, knowing that you were one of the grade 8.
Well, I think Charlie Grady, in collaboration with his Hang Time organization, wanted to lift up folks who have come through incarceration and reentry, and who have made significant changes to who have made considerable contributions to the community. And he he thought that this is a population of folks that go unsung, and oftentimes all you hear about is recidivism and just all the negative stuff. And there are people who actually, do really interesting and cool stuff. And so he just wanted to lift those folks up. And so I guess he narrowed it down to 8. Like 8 was the number, and he has a board and a whole advisory group of people. They solicited for nominations, and apparently I got nominated a bunch of times, which I was quite surprised and moved by, because I didn't even think I was going to be on anybody's list.
I know our friend Dennis Michelson put in a beautiful nomination for you, and it was very, very thorough. maybe it comes from her being a professor of social justice, criminal justice. But
Yeah.
she put in a beautiful application for you. So
I know you know, and they said to me, a bunch of people put in nominations for me, which I had no idea. I knew about her because she contacted me about just to, you know, to have a little conversation and to let me know that she was doing this. But the other people, I had no idea. No idea.
I'm not even sure how they did it. You have to have a lot of background information to put in a nomination. I don't know what they
Well,
did.
I mean, it's not hard because, you know, my whole life is on, you know, it's out there. So I mean,
This is true.
I mean, you can just it's not hard. It's not heavy lifting. You can
So
piece together my story rather easily.
So who were the other inductees? I know Larice Harvey was one.
Tahiba Bain.
Oh, Tahiba, wonderful.
Yes. Let me look.
Iran Nazario is one.
Yes.
Daryl McGraw, I think.
Okay, so you already know these people.
I'm in the car, Babz. I'm doing this off the top of my head.
I know, but the fact that you're doing it.
Well, we know all these people.
Yes, but I don't know them off the top of my head. Like, I don't know them off the top of my head the way that you do. So you know them. It's 8 of us.
Yeah.
Together. All different kinds of folks. Lovely group of people. I feel like I'm in good company with everybody.
So, do you know what's happening at the ceremony this Sunday at 6 o'clock?
I think it's just going to be just all the stuff that they taped because they actually did a ceremony to people. I wasn't there, so I don't actually physically have my award.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the awards were there in Hartford, and people made their remarks. So I had to make my remarks without holding my award. So I need to ask somebody, where's my award? Is somebody gonna drop it off?
Yeah, it's been floating around UPS for 6 months waiting to get to you.
I was like, where's my award? That's what I need. I need to get that. I need to call somebody. It's a beautiful piece of glass. I was like, what?
Anyway, congratulations, Babz. It's very, very well deserved, and well deserved by everybody who were the inaugural inductees. So we're very happy that Charlie Grady put this thing together, and that
he's a thoughtful guy.
Yeah, and I know that it was put together with a bunch of other organizations. I think that the reentry roundtables were involved, and certainly some of the members of the criminal justice sectors of the government as well. So that's all a good thing.
Yeah. So it's a you know, I know he had grand ideas for this in COVID. You know, it was supposed to be a dinner and a whole thing.
Yeah.
But COVID made it impossible for us to gather as a group to celebrate. So you know, we pivot like everybody else is doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we move on. We do something else.
So two weeks ago, we had Mike Lawler on, who I think did a great job of bringing us all up to date as to what the status of criminal justice is in the state.
Yes.
But what you and I didn't have a chance to do is really catch up after the summer. So why don't we do that now?
Yeah.
Because I know you were on air all summer, or pretty much all summer. So
Yeah.
Was there a theme? Were you talking about Black Lives Matters a lot? Were you talking about what was going on this summer on your show? Because I know you had a lot of airtime.
I mean, in my show expanded to 2 hours a day at the very beginning of the summer. No, at my anniversary, I think. My anniversary is like February. And so the show expanded to 2 hours from 9 to 11 every single day. And so, which gave me a bigger opportunity to have more conversations with people that I'm very interested in. So
Yeah.
that's why I spent the summer just talking to more people that I normally talk to without, I don't really have the theme of the show is always just, in-depth conversations with people. I don't do 15-minute soundbite kind of things. I actually have 45-minute conversations with people, which suits me because I really like a good conversation. I don't like my show's not a car wash. Like I don't do 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Like I'm not running people through.
Yeah, but this has been a pretty intense summer in terms of overall climate in the country and around the world. So there must be a lot of reaction to the pandemic and fires now, and to social justice movements and things like that. I mean, you must have had a lot of commentary about that.
I spent a lot of time talking about pandemic from a different perspective. I did a few shows on pandemic from economics, from an economic lens. I did pandemic conversations from a European lens and what that looks like. I did a pandemic conversation from the influence of China, and I've had some experts in American Chinese relations talking about what that looks like. So I spent a lot of times talking about the pandemic from perspectives that are often missed. I talked a lot about Black and Brown health and the modalities around how this pandemic is affecting us. I did some shows around, I've had legislative folks on. I had Gary and Robin Porter on right after the police accountability legislation passed, talking about that and what that looked like. So I did a lot of shows around up to the minute kinds of things, which were.
And what did Gary and Robin say about the police accountability?
I mean, it was a long time in the making. It was one of these things that Gary has spent his whole legislative career trying to sort of bring to the light of day, and so finally they spent the last night of around the clock conversations and lobbying of the legislator and testimony overnight, 24 hours, 72 hours of trying to change the hearts and minds of people around, police accountability. That goes a long way to help police people. Of course, it was not without its controversy, but the legislative passed, and that was a huge win for the citizens of Connecticut, and probably first in the country around looking at how policing is done at the local level. So I mean, I've had some good conversations with people all summer, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's not. It's nice to see that people are willing to come out and tell their stories, and some of the stuff is controversial. Even the police accountability law. We tend to look at it from the position or social location as either criminal justice advocates or people on the street, but I mean the police had a lot to say about it too, and so did there's a lot of views there, and I know that they were picketing, and the police union went crazy, and it's a real story that is very Connecticut centric. So I'm glad you covered it, and we'll see what happens. Because there's always intended and unintended consequences to these things.
Yeah.
So this thing will play out.
So it's been a good summer. I had opportunity to talk to the new president of the Yale Hospital, who is a Black man who's stepping into the role October. So it was great talking to him. Of course, I had opportunity to talk to authors and um, uh, history makers, and so it's been a really rich summer of good conversation, particularly around areas that I am acutely concerned about. So, yeah.
So did you get an opportunity to speak to former corrections commissioner Rowling?
I talked to him personally. I didn't have him on air.
Yeah.
I didn't have him on my show. But he and I became good friends. So I mean, we are friends. So I did have opportunity. I mean, he was on the show, I think, before he left, but he wasn't on the show to talk about leaving, because at that time when he was on my show, he had not said he was leaving. Right, he was still in the throes of. I had him on talking about just following up to the conversations we had about family and solitary confinement. So that's what the show was talking about. And shortly after that, he had
very shortly after. Well,
he had offered up his resignation.
Well, once I heard that you and Andrew had gone out to dinner with Rollin and his wife, I got very jealous.
They are lovely people.
So is he back? Is he back in Utah now?
Yes, he is. He is.
So have you met our new corrections commissioner yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't. So are you having him on?
Well, I'll definitely get in touch with him, but I feel like he's been in the corrections department for 30 years or so. So I feel like I've met him maybe when Scott Semple was the corrections commissioner.
Okay.
But
he's not.
But we'll definitely invite him.
Okay. I figured he wouldn't be. I figured he'd make his way on our show at some point if you had anything to do with it. So, how is your podcast that you were only going to do for the summer and now it's turned into its own life?
Well, we're gonna see what kind of life it actually has. Right now, the plan is to do it on the off weeks when you and I don't do our thing.
And are you enjoying it?
Oh, it's been a blast because it's been very deep dive on white collar crime, and that's that's most of my mission and passion these days. So it's been all aspects of the white collar ecosystem. So we've had on people who've been to prison, we've had on prosecutors, we've had defense attorneys, recovery professionals, all different aspects of what it is to be within kind of a subset of the major criminal justice movement. And it's been fascinating. Good. And we'll see where it goes. I just think that it's something that I've wanted to do, and where we don't have a lot of bandwidth on Criminal Justice Insider for that much white collar. So we'll see. It's certainly coincided with the growth of our ministry, which is exploded during COVID. Mostly, frankly, Babz, because of SBA loan fraud.
Well,
so, am I cutting out? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good.
I can hear you. So, well, I mean, if you have a passion for this, I think you should continue. You people that you want to be talking to, and there's so much that needs to be unpacked around these issues. So that we can't cover in 1 hour on our show every other week. So you know.
No, yeah, and we've got a lot of interest. You know what really happened, Babz, was that, and you and I had I came on your show to talk about this. It had to be March, when we were still in the studio. Or we were in the studio, I don't remember, but I get calls every day now from people who are afraid that they're going to get arrested for SBA loan fraud, and because that's what I went to prison for SBA loan fraud post 9/11, and now it's 19 years later, and the same scenario has returned, where the government is making a lot of money available, and this time much more than they did back in 9/11, and much more spread out all over the country, and a lot of people have gotten into trouble, or getting into trouble, might get into trouble. We don't really know where the line's going to be drawn. So I've definitely sounded the alarm out there that people should, first of all, not step over the line and do the wrong things. But if they already have done the wrong things, or they're not sure they've done the wrong things, they should go get professional help. And they will or they won't. With me, it took me 2 years after I had committed my crime to get arrested. And frankly, I was in such denial. I had no idea that I had even done anything wrong. I probably should have, but I was in denial, and I was getting over, a decade of prescription opioid abuse. So I was in no frame of mind to really even understand. But that's replaying now. That's exactly what's going on with people. They don't know if they're going to be in trouble or not.
Really?
So no idea.
Wow.
And because it's not so obvious. I mean, it's very obvious if you own a pizzeria and you put your wife and kids on the payroll, and they were never on the payroll before. So all of a sudden you put your wife and kids on the payroll so that you could take out a bigger loan and ask for forgiveness on that loan. I mean, I'm giving it the simplest possible case, but it could get very complicated when you have staff of 30 or 40 or 50, and complicated business transactions, and what kind of payroll it is, and whether or not you give bonuses and vacation pay, and whether the money's really going into the places it's supposed to go in order to be able to ask forgiveness. And the rules, they might seem easy in some ways, but for the most part, small businesses were not equipped to apply and provide the documentation they needed to within the speedy time frame they needed in order to take advantage of these loans. So a lot of them probably just slapped together what they could because they thought it was good enough. But if it truly wasn't good enough, if it wasn't really a perfect application, is it possible that a year or two from now, one of these government regulators, either the SBA or the FDIC or Congress or local U.S. attorney's offices are going to find or be interested in looking into them? Yeah, of course that's going to happen. It's low-hanging fruit, and there's nothing the government likes better than a win.
Well, then they got some easy wins then. I guess.
That's why they went after insider trading, because mostly, I mean, they didn't go after the mortgage fraud
I know, right?
debacle in 2008 because it was complicated. But they went after insider trading because it was relatively easy, low-hanging fruit. And compared to that, this is the lowest hanging fruit they'll ever find. I mean, you already have the records. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I hope that what it's not going to mean is that there aren't tens of thousands of families that are ripped apart because they're already ripped apart because of COVID, and they're ripped apart because of economic insecurity at a time in our country where there's all kinds of unrest, and it would be horrible to think that but what they're looking at is mass prosecutions on a mass scale that are just going to rip through families and communities and basically because of politics. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, we've got we're doing some trauma work for the we're doing the trauma conference that's coming up with the what is the women council? What is it? The women's
consortium.
Yes, the women consortium.
Trauma conference is coming up in October, and I'm in the car, so I don't have the date with me. But you and I are interviewing one of their guests, Tony, or I can't remember his last name. I apologize. So we're having the setup phone call next week where we'll do a pre-interview, and we're going to do it right over Zoom. So it's going to be a special edition of Criminal Justice Insider.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can work out the details of actually having it simulcast or not at that time over the air, but we can certainly do it on, we'll talk to Harry. We can do it on Facebook Live, and we can do it on all our other outlets.
Yeah, that's easy enough to.
Yeah, and I've heard from Catherine Lavery, and they want to have us. Catherine moved. She may have told us that in our wrap-up show, but she's now the chairman of the Criminal Justice Department at Pace University.
Oh, is she?
Oh yeah. She's a big shot there now. So she moved from Iona to Pace University, and she's got 3 offices, really. I mean, she has an office at their campus in Manhattan, in downtown Manhattan, and then she has one up in Briarcliff Manor at their campus there. And then she does a lot of work with the law school at their campus in White Plains. So she's busy.
Wow.
Yeah, she's busy.
Yeah, she is busy. Good grief.
Yeah. So she's already started talking to us about doing some things over at Pace University, which of course we'd be very happy to do.
Yeah. Somebody's got to help train up these new freedom fighters on these matters.
Yeah. And Jackie Pulverari and I are speaking at Albertus Magnus College in a few weeks. That was held over from before from COVID, so that's going to be happening.
Well, she's having the second annual Women's Cat Conference again, so we're gathering sometime in October, like we did last year. The bunch of us who spent some time at Danbury, so we're gathering together again, just to celebrate. Very, very, very loose and low key.
I think she has 20 or 25 women coming.
Yeah.
And they just told me last night, I'm sure she's not going to be happy that I'm announcing this over the air, but some of the husbands are coming. So her husband, David, who is an innocent spouse, he's taking the men golfing for the day while the women are meeting. So it's going to be a bunch of guys who were home while their wives went to prison. So I don't think that's ever happened before. So
it'll be good, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. And she's doing great work. And our white collar support group is buzzing. We have our 223rd meeting this coming Monday night. We have an average of about 25 people on Zoom from all over the country, and from Canada. And that's turned into a very soulful, deep, supportive group where people come out of isolation and into community. It's amazing to see people for their lights to shine again. Because when they first come on that phone call, everybody's dark and desperate and feeling lonely, and we bring them into community, and it's really the best thing I do all week. And it's at 7 o'clock Eastern on Monday nights, and anybody who is in that situation. So if you've been arrested or being prosecuted or have formerly been prosecuted for white collar crime, there is a place in this universe that accepts you as you are. And so get in touch with me, please, at prisonist.org, because all my contact information is there. And we'll send you a link to come on the White Collar Support Group on Monday nights. And if you want to see what one of them is about, we have our first episode of Criminal Justice, White Collar Week, was a recorded meeting of 16 members of the White Collar Support Group telling their stories. So it's been a fascinating ride, you know.
Do you ever imagine that maybe you'll bring people together in a same space, like, I don't know, some kind of retreat kind of gathered thing? Like, is that an idea, or do you just want to stay in the where you are?
It's really a great question. We've done it. It's set up to be virtual. Mm-hmm. And so we're way ahead of the curve. We've been doing this for 4.5 years. And not because we wanted to do it, it's because we really had no other choice but to rely on whatever technology was available, because we're spread out all over the country. And so the brand of communicating from captivity or from isolation that people are experiencing now during COVID, and just learning about how to communicate on Zoom, we've been doing all these years. So I would say that nobody's really traumatized by it currently. That's because they've already been traumatized and they've already been in isolation. So we've learned a lot of lessons about it, about what to do and not to do, and certainly made our share of mistakes. But the successes are starting to pile up now, and we've been around long enough as a ministry that we've had people that we've been working with before, during, and after prison. A lot of them have come home early because of COVID. And so, what a gift to be part of their families and just this vast array of all over the country. And sometimes we do get together. For example, at the very beginning of this year, I think it was, or maybe it was the very end of last year, I flew out to LA and I met with nine people that we minister to and that we help. And so I just set up camp at an Airbnb in Venice and went out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner with people serially, and went to a couple of criminal justice events that I was invited to while I was out there. Mm-hmm. And what a gift! I mean, these are people that I'd never met before, other than on video. So they were taller than I thought, or they were shorter than I thought, or they were, you know, we got to hug, you know, we got to break bread together and be in communion, and that never would have happened without the technology. Mm-hmm. There's just no way. So I think at its core, we have a real opportunity to reach out to people in a different way and to be of value and to really find the purpose that we're intended to have in a different way, you know, in a kind of non-geographically centered way. And that's a gift, because like what you do in New Haven or what we do in Connecticut, we're lucky we're in a small state. We're able to really reach out and touch people. Well, not in COVID, but generally. Mm-hmm. But not everybody has that opportunity. So
yeah, I will say, Jeff, that not to toot our horn or anything like that, but I'm very proud of the work that we do and the way that we show so many different aspects of the criminal justice world. Because for the most part, people just think people go to prison and get out, go to prison and get out, you know, and whatever the issue is, they just think, well, there's an issue, they go to prison and they commit a crime. But there's so many threads to, you know, about criminal justice that people don't even think about, and how it affects so much of our society. You know, it's an economic issue, it's a housing issue, it's an education issue, it's a health issue, it's a mental health issue. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so many layers that people just don't, they don't even think about until we bring it to them, until we shine the light on, hey, listen, when we have legislators on talking about this particular thing, it's because we need to shine the light on this, you know, or when we bring people talking about halfway houses and the need for halfway houses, like ordinary, everyday people don't think about the need for halfway houses. They're not thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like, they don't, like, what do you mean halfway houses? They go to jail, get out. No, it's just not that simple, you know.
What I'm consistently amazed about is that people don't realize that these are real humans with real human stories and people living on the edge.
Right. You know, and they're not monsters.
No, but they're living under monstrous conditions.
Yeah.
And so how often do you get to speak to someone who is experiencing something of such pain and such tragedy and figuring out how to survive and overcome and willing to talk about it because we space for that. And I think and to the entire criminal justice community in Connecticut, I think everybody's done a very good job of making this accessible.
Yeah.
Whether it's the ACLU or the NAACP or the many nonprofits that are out there, or you know, all the activists and advocates, the one thing that everyone wants to do is put a real human face on it and understand that we're people too.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago we couldn't do that. When you and I started editing the book, The Justice Imperative, there was no way that there was this kind of enlightened conversation going on.
Oh yeah.
You remember? It was weird.
Yeah.
Even the people we worked with on that book weren't so enlightened. You know, we kept raising our hands and, hey, listen, we're the two people who've been incarcerated in this group. Maybe you should take some cues from us.
I remember when we were putting our stuff in the book, and they were like, "How do you want to be?" And I said, "Well, you know, I could put, you know, formerly incarcerated, you know, by a comma, formerly incarcerated," and they were like, "No, you don't have to put that." And I was like, I'm not ashamed of that. Like, I don't like, it might give you some credibility if you like had somebody who was, you know, like you can open the book and see formerly incarcerated person worked on this with y'all. You know what I mean? Like,
well, so. I think we were more than just the token formerly incarcerated people.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think that I think we were at a place in the conversation in the country and even in Connecticut where they didn't know how to deal with us yet.
Yeah.
and we told them there's going to be an uprising. We said, you don't know how many of us there are. Right. I remember that. You and I used to laugh.
Oh my God. Yeah,
that was
we were, you know, we tried to really pull them along, and it really was, you know, because it was like pulling teeth, and that blog was so good, and they didn't even realize how good it was. Like, the information, like, we really was amassing information that nobody else had. You know, we were posting stuff that was going on around the country that nobody had any awareness of, and they were like, well, can it be local? I was like, there's nothing going on locally. You have to, you have to bring the stuff that are people doing outside to inspire people locally to want to do these things, right? Because they don't believe it can be done until they see it.
Yeah. And I remember telling them, I remember having this conversation with them, that the way we're going to get people to talk about Connecticut criminal justice is for us to enter their conversations. And to do that, we had to go into their conversations all over the country and start communicating with them. And I remember they thought we were crazy.
They thought we were crazy. They were like, what?
Right. I said, no,
why can't you just, I was like, no, it doesn't work like that.
In Oakland, they're doing some really powerful, progressive things. We want to be a voice from Connecticut in their conversation, because they're not going to come to us unless we go to them first.
Right.
I remember all that.
Oh, and they could not see that vision. They couldn't see it. And they were like, why are y'all posting, why are y'all pulling information from around the country and around the world? I was like, because this is how you inspire people to want to do this work. Like we have to go to where that work is being done, because we're not doing it here. Do you know what I mean? We're not doing it.
Now, on White Collar Week, I had an episode that was on compassionate lawyering, because that's something you never hear about lawyers who've gone out of their way to be compassionate, to really care about their clients and give that kind of extra mile, right? It's I'm not saying it's not done. It's not something that's ever really a topic. So, but I happen to know a few that I've been really impressed with, that make it their business to talk about that. I mean, we know a lot of lawyers who do that, and local lawyers too. So I reached out to Chris Poulos out in Washington State, and he's got a tremendous story, and he worked in the Obama White House on criminal justice advocacy, and now he's the statewide director of reentry state. But he was in jail in Maine not that long ago, right? A decade ago. So to be in jail, study for law school, go to law school, get admitted to the bar, and be running reentry for the entire state of Washington is a big deal.
Yeah. I can't hear you.
Well, I'm coming on the show. And you know what he said to me, Babz? He said, I was waiting when you would get around to inviting me to do something. It's exactly what we talked about back in the justice imperative. Yeah. It's like, it's like people want to be invited into the conversation. Yeah. So it was.
I really love that blog, Jeff. It introduced me to so many people.
Andrew.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It introduced me to a lot of people, and it gave me a lot of insight into this world. Like, I really would say that credited me with that. I would give that credit for giving me insight into what was going on, and that there were people that were really working on these matters for real, and in real time. You know what I mean? Like success stories, which you don't get to hear. You don't get to hear about these people who are employing folks who had just come out, who are providing housing for people. Do you know what I mean? Like really going above and beyond, what's necessary, because they see the value in investing in human capital. That's like, I think that was some of our finest work.
Yeah, and it was groundbreaking at the time. It really, well, I think what we're doing now is groundbreaking.
Oh, but, I agree. Absolutely.
But that was kind of the seeds of it when you and I started talking. And we actually talked about doing a radio show back then.
Yes.
And we said, maybe we should do a radio show. And then when you got your gig at WNHH, it all became kind of organic, kind of made sense.
It just became a real easy kind of, let's build this kind of thing out, and we knew that we couldn't do, we quickly realized we couldn't do just once a month. We quickly realized that.
Yeah, that only lasted a month.
Yeah.
We were once a month for 1 month.
I was like, oh my God, we have too many guests.
Yeah.
How are we gonna do this? We're not gonna be able to do this. So
Well,
yeah,
Babz, look, I'm glad we got a chance to catch up over the air. We'll try to get Josh on.
Yeah.
Something happened. Something happened. Our wires got crossed. I'm not quite sure what it was.
Oh well, you know what? Listen. It's kind of nice that you and I get to catch up on our show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, on our show. That's right.
On our show, because we stay chock full of guests. Like we stay booked up. So it's kind of nice to just you and I like talk and chat and catch up and just let people know that what we think about and how we think about these matters. So enjoy your trip.
So congratulations on your induction to the Hall of Change, and for anybody who is available 6 o'clock Sunday night, you go to the Hang Time website, which I don't know the actual URL of, but if you Google Hang Time in Connecticut, you'll be able to get to their website, and you'll be able to watch the induction ceremony. I guess that was taped.
Yeah.
But beautiful group of people who run it, who have been inducted, and then with any luck, we'll have a bunch of y'all on our show, on our Criminal Justice Insider on October 2nd, and we'll get to dive a little deeper than you can do in that ceremony.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. That'll be that's a nice touch. I appreciate that. So, talk to the other folks, give them some shine.
Oh yeah. Lynn and I spent some time yesterday cutting a crown for you out of construction paper.
I know Lynn is not a part of that foolishness.
No,
that's all Jeff. I know she's like, Babz is not gonna go for that.
No, I'm the crown cutter. She was sprinkling the sprinkles, the glitter.
I'm a girl from glitter. Let me tell you. Well, listen, y'all drive carefully. Kiss the grandchildren. I love y'all so much.
I love you too. Thank you, Harry, for putting this together, and we love you, Babz, and I'll be in touch with you in a couple of days when we get back, and we'll work on the other show.
All right, my love. Y'all drive carefully. Stay out of the storm.
You too, honey. Okay.
All right. Bye. Harry, I'll meet you on the other side.
All right. Thank you, Harry. Yeah, it was a great time making a crown out of construction paper for you. You're driving.